Hello and welcome to the third and final, and I promise it's the final video in my little series on the British Airways Executive Club changes. I will honestly not be squeezing any more droplets of content out from this controversial topic. So, a brief recap for anyone that's not been around the community. The British Airways announcement, end of 2024, overhauling the entire Executive Club system, rebranding it as the club, and also shifting from a distance and cabin based point system to purely revenue spend. My first video was saying how really it wasn't very good, it stinks, and there was at least 15 reasons. I've thought of plenty more since then of why it's not particularly good. I thought, though, in the interest of fairness, I would try and balance it out with a bit more of a pragmatic approach. And I actually got a lot of good feedback from that video. So thank you, everyone, for supporting me in my slightly more balanced and nuanced approach as we try to work through this. So, anyway, now we're on to the third and final video, which is the final verdict. It's the final verdict. And this video is going to come in broadly two parts. Part number one will be about the best ways to boost your points. Yes, it's considerably more limited than the previous system, but there are some little wriggle rooms we can do. And I've gone through the various systems to see how best to boost the points if you are pushing to pushing for gold, but if you are maybe bronze or silver, a few little tips to get you over there. And then finally, we will wrap up with what I plan to do with my recently acquired, not recently, but my recently retained, that's the word. My recently retained gold membership going forward for the next couple of years. So, anyway, let's start at the beginning. A quick word on budgeting. I did a video a couple of months back on budgeting, which linked here should give you a few interesting tips and hacks and ideas on how best to structure your payment mechanisms and all that sort of stuff to make the most of your holiday and get the best bang for your buck. Even so, if you are chasing silver status, certainly as a couple, that's going to be a joint spend of £15,000. And obviously for gold, that'd be a joint spend of £40,000. So if you're talking about a breaking that down monthly, that'd be £1,250 per couple per month on average to get to silver. Obviously, worth mentioning that that is often more than a lot of people's monthly rent and mortgage. So, first world problems. And if you go for gold, that's £3,333 per couple per month, which I'm not even going to comment on because if you have that much money going spare, then well done you. You've obviously done pretty good for yourself. If you think you can afford it, then it could be an idea to map out the year ahead. Look at spreading the costs by leveraging BA's de facto interest free holiday payments, where you just pay the deposit and don't have to pay the balance off till 6 weeks before you go. Try and spread the cost, and please make sure you can obviously take it all in your financial stride. I suggest budgeting because we are not just going to use cash to pay for all these holidays. We're going to use some tweaks and different ways to boost our overall spend, but by not necessarily spending any more cash directly. But we'll come on to that with strategies how to boost those all important tier points under the new BA system. My first caveat slash disclaimer, of course, is that there are a plethora of different variations on this now the BA has shifted to a revenue based system. As such, I can't go through every single permutation of each individual customer and their profile and their spend. So, what I'm going to do is focus predominantly on my situation. So, that will be a couple traveling. Obviously, if you're a solo traveler or a couple with a family or a single parent with families, some of these will apply to you, but perhaps to a lesser extent, because obviously, if you're traveling as a family and you're traveling with children over the age of two, the Avios points all get split up. Second caveat is I'm basing this all on BA holidays because, as people know, at least at the moment, if you book flights, they will deduct certain taxes and fuel duty and airport fees and so on. So, if you book a flight under the new system, you will only get the full amount of tier points. This, however, doesn't apply to holidays because if you do book a holiday, at least what they're telling us is that you get all 100% of the spend as tier points, which obviously more often than not is a step up from the flights. Also, I guess some of these could be used if you're chasing gold, but if you've got a 20 to 40,000 pound holiday budget sloshing around, you probably aren't going to need to worry too much about tweaking little bits and boosters to get over the line. Good for you, though. Fair play. Finally, this is all being taken at face value, so I'm not going to factor in any potential promotions or tier point offers or whatever that comes down the line. So we're just going for the highest barrier here, 15,000 points or £15,000, which is based on a couple traveling. Assuming now we're using that holiday metric, so we're buying a holiday and 100% of the tier points are saved and then split equally, we both need 7,500 points. That equates to £7,500 each. So a combined total of £15,000. And a quick aside, I'm actually wearing something completely different because I had hoped to get this filmed on a Thursday evening, but I had some internet problems, so I only got a bit of it out. So hence this, I'm not gaslighting you, or if anyone points out that I've changed my outfit, that's why. Anyway, so the key and the easiest way, I suppose, would just be to spend that £15,000. Boom, no problem. Turn the video off, go home. We don't need any more of your pointless advice. Well, actually, that's boring. Let's do something a bit fun. So rather than actually spending that kind of money, because that is a lot of money for a lot of people, the first tip potentially would be to look at boosting one of the couple's points. So whether that would be if people can go away, for example, for work, seeing if you can get work BA flights through work, or if you're going on, I know you let's say you support a sports team and you go traveling the world and all that sort of stuff. So if you're able to boost one of the people to 7,500 and the second one doesn't, it is not important because the BA system at present, who knows, they may well change this. You, of course, can bring in one guest with you to the lounge, obviously priority boarding and all that sort of stuff. So it only really takes one of you to do that. So if you can work out the mathematics, so you can do a few nice holidays and boost up your points equally, and there's one of you that can just nudge up to that threshold, that may be a more effective way of getting silver, because one of the bugbears for me, and it's always been a bugbear, is the way the system works. Obviously, one person can bring in a guest. That's great because that one person can spend £7,500. That second person can spend zero, and they still get exactly the same treatment and service and perks as the silver member. So if you're a couple who are spending quite a lot of money, let's say, I don't know, £1,400, £14,000, then I'm afraid you don't get that treatment. So that's one of those issues, quirks, flaws in the system that I've always found a bit annoying. But anyway, the way they've now changed it, it can be exploited. So I think a lot of people could probably look at boosting their own personal one and then having their other half piggyback off that. The BA Amex Premium card is by far the most obvious way for one of you to boost that. They haven't quite finalized the details, but apparently you can obviously get a tier point per pound spent, so that's good. However, it says up to 2,500 tier points, assuming that's £25,000. Even so, if you are spending 10 plus £1,000 on holidays, rather than channeling it through your other credit cards, if you do look at opening up a BA loyalty credit card, that will be a nice little booster for one of you to jump up, get a few more hundreds or 1,000 plus points to get you closer to silver. I did look at other similar ways of consolidating existing spend. For example, if we're spending £15,000 on BA holidays, that would be flights and hotels. There are, of course, additional payments. But looking at the additional spend on holidays, I just can't find any wriggle room. I thought BA may, for example, have some kind of travel insurance because we all need travel insurance. You should have travel insurance. BA do actually have a travel insurance partner, but it doesn't look like they have any tier point offers or incentives. Perhaps someone can correct me, but I certainly couldn't find any. Likewise, no boosters for travel money or anything. I thought I got excited because I thought I found a nice loophole for me, which would be that we do a lot of day trips, tours, that kind of stuff. We book it all through Viator, which has a loyalty program, which isn't necessarily the greatest loyalty program. However, BA said additional spend. You get tier points on additional spend. So I got really excited because I have checked, and things like obviously transfers to and from the hotel. Taxis can cost a lot of money, can't they? BA do have certain options for excursions on the when you go to the booking after the holiday booking, add excursions. So I thought, wow, could I transfer that spend, which I think, for example, about £1,500 to £2,000? Could I transfer that Viator spend to BA and get those as tier points? No, you can't. You can't. Reading the small print, when it says qualifying add-ons, it just appears to be baggage, seat selection, that sort of stuff. So nothing particularly juicy when it comes to spending a couple of £100 on day trips, or £100 or plus on a taxi, which is really annoying because I think that would have been a nice little hack. But British Airways seems to have done its homework and closed off every potential loophole or little exploitation where you could artificially boost your tier point total. So, unfortunately, it looks like, not unfortunately, it's a legitimate perk. It looks like that the American Express card is the best way, or pretty much the only real way, to consolidate your spend and get an extra surge to your tier points. So, that leaves us with the other legitimate ways of offsetting the costs. And the first one I'm going to say will be the Avios offset. Now, I've not really paid much attention to Avios. I don't really understand how it works that well, to be honest. I have been mainly focused on tier points. As such, it's always been about reaching the thresholds on the tier points, and the Avios has just sort of sat there festering, which I probably should have paid a lot more attention to. So I've racked up nearly 600,000 Avios points. So I would recommend, for anyone who has a decent balance, would be now's the time to start using those Avios points, either to wind it all down if you want to quit and join another loyalty program, or just shop around and ditch BA, or as a way to just reduce those costs. Because don't forget, part payments include, at least that's what they're telling us, part payments are 100% of the tier points in Avios. That means if you book a holiday package for, say, I don't know, £6,000, use £1,000 worth of Avios to offset those costs, you will still get £6,000 worth of points. At least that's what they're currently telling. This is a phrase I keep repeating often now, because you never quite know if they're going to move the goalposts. Anyway, so there's two basic ways you can do this. Is one, if you've got a nice healthy stash of Avios saved up, then you can obviously whittle away that. Alternatively, you can just do it as you go. So each time you book a holiday, pay it off, get the Avios, you then use that to offset. And I realise that won't necessarily be huge numbers each time, but over the course of a year, it might shave a fair bit off. So definitely look at Avios offsetting as a way to reduce the costs whilst retaining 100% of the new tier points you will acquire. The second part of this strategy is perhaps even the most exciting one, or the one that gives you the most potential scope to really boost your Avios points, and that is actually make use of the Avios program in its entirety. I have not done that. Again, I've been pretty lackadaisical in terms of looking at the perks and the various companies in the program. But having another look now, it's like, well, there is a lot of scope for you to consolidate your wider spend, your non holiday spend, and use that for points if you want to. So we talked about the Amex card. Say you get 3 times the Avios for each pound spent. Boom, that's already a nice booster. Look at the long list: Uber, Sainsbury's. I think it's Esso, Argos. Obviously, Argos is part of Sainsbury's. If you're doing weekly shop in Sainsbury's, there is the concept of maybe I'll put those Avios points into, or sorry, my Nectar points can be converted to Avios. So if you are doing that, that over the course of a year is a fair chunk of potential Avios points. Those are the main strategy, or at least those seem to be the main strategies for me. If I've missed anything glaringly obvious, then please do let me know, or do let me know if you have any other tips or hacks to be able to boost your Avios whilst reducing your spend. Unfortunately, those ideas were nowhere near as exciting as the golden age of tier point collections and tier point runs, but it's a new world order and it's pretty dull. But I am hopeful that some of those hints can give people who are perhaps not quite at the level just a little nudge to get those extra points to get the status that they would like to do. So it comes down now for the final word, the final verdict from me about what I am going to do. Well, there isn't much point in sabotaging the years and years of hard work we've put into the club, certainly with the Avios points we've built up. I did a quick look, and I think that's about £2,500 worth of Avios we've got. So the plan is then we've just retained gold for another year using the double tier points. That means with the shift in the alignment of the BA year end for the tier points, we will be able to stay gold till April 2026. We've earned enough in bookings to get to silver for 2027. So what we're going to probably do, there is a chance I might get to go with a couple of other trips, but we will see because rather annoyingly we had mapped out the year, so we had a couple of those double tier points holidays lined up, and we would only need a few more to get over to retain gold for 2027. Doesn't look like that's going to happen because now it's on the spend, but it is what it is. I may get to gold in 2027, so if that happens, I will probably either start offsetting my Avios to keep things ticking along, wind it down, and then go for a soft landing in 2007 and then just ease my way out of the club. Or if British Airways come up with some interesting and innovative offers or incentives or other changes to the system, maybe I will stay. But I certainly think the suggestions I gave earlier about boosting Avios and for example, the credit card or those sort of things are good. And I'm going to start using those because even if the spend's quite high, shaving off maybe hundreds, if not some thousands of pounds, is going to make a huge difference. So there we go. I guess we'll wait and see. I think the initial shock and irritation and frustration has somewhat subsided as I've talked through these videos and heard other people's opinions. We need to be pragmatic after all. I will no doubt then enjoy my gold and silver membership as long as it lasts, and let's see what the future holds. But as always, thanks very much for listening and for tuning in. Please do sign up for future videos. And I'm going to park my British Airways Club issues. I've unpacked it. The trauma's now gone, and I'm going to focus on the positives. So we're going to be doing some fun videos on Athens and some other trips as well. So until next time, thanks a lot. Bye bye.